This video is an addendum and follow-up to previous videos concerning a piece of software. RustRelic.eu's website offers a download link to a locally hosted copy of a program. 800 megabyte executable that you get to download that's a setup or installer, depending on how you want to phrase it. It is in the form of a self-extracting executable and extracts out to, now that I'm able to get away with forcing it to extract in a way it's programmed to try to prevent, 1.55 gigabytes of data. This will be the first time I've been able to do this without doing the Trust Me Bro install, where I let it essentially have control over my computer during the setup process. Normally this isn't an issue, but because the software's actual author stopped making it available in 2016, we have to not Trust Me Bro when we download Rust Legacy. It needs to be something we can easily extract that doesn't have anything that can really hide a virus or malware, because that has happened. Not recently, but you get the idea. In order to extract it, this is a side note, I had to use a piece of software that has been made deliberately unavailable by the author. It was a GitHub user named Wilenty who created an Unpacker Extractor, which in and of itself was in a 7-zip file, which means, again, it's not an installer. That was a program he created to extract InnoSetup files that are version 6.3 and higher. Later on, he put out one that was 6.4 capable and everything below it. And then he posted kind of a rant about how he wasn't getting donations and got rid of it. I can't fix this, so this is maybe the only time you'll hear of somebody manually extracting it. What was inside of the 800 megabyte self-extracting Trust Me Bro installer that's an executable that extracts out to 1.55 gigabytes approximately? First, biggest, and most important part, it was a generic Rust Legacy file set. The 2014 and 2015 version kind of mixed together, and or they simply had the time and date stamps for that. I checked all of them, and they vary between the 2014 and 2015 versions that are just the ones that are available. They're the most commonly released ones that people saved. I'll bring that up in a minute. But that was 900 megabytes out of that. And that's how all of the installers go. That's how they end. They have normally a modification or two to a couple of things, or it simply just auto-connects to the preferred server if it's tailor-made for a certain server. Some of them include extra packs, or they swap out graphics, pictures that are used to draw the characters or whatever, or they just come up with settings that make them more optimized. Some come with extra cheat prevention, anti-cheats. Some come with cheats. They're not used as cheats, they're just used to force it to let you add things into the game, which, okay, those are mods. The next thing, which is important, is RustProtect.dll. Two different versions are in there. RustProtect.dll is about 100 kbytes, and there's a 2017 and a 2024 version. Notes below. The only very obviously added files at all are about 3 megabytes of extra files for something called capsule and another one called tree. Those of you who edit video games already know probably what those are referring to. They can refer to it affecting the character or other things in the environment. I'm not really caring about that, but that's the next notable thing. And then on top of it, we have 370 megabytes of Windows updates because lots of people use older computers. We have 2010 updates for Visual C, DirectX, Visual Basic. We have 2024 update for, 2012 update for .NET Framework 4.5 for Windows XP and better, because that actually is useful, and that's part of the game needing that because it came out in 2013. Most of you don't need to run these, so that's another 370 megabytes you can delete afterwards, so it saves a little space. But again, it's just a generic game at this point with RustProtect, And all we need is, how do we add RustProtect to our downloadable games? You could just provide that. Where's the hook to install it? Now we'll get on to the last one, semi-last one. .NET 9 for Windows 10 is included. It's not required, but they don't tell you on the website what version of Windows you need to use. Maybe this is Windows 8 and above only, even though internally it says it'll work on Windows 7, Windows Vista, Windows 8, Windows 8.1, Windows 10, and Windows 11. Yes, I opened up some of the DLLs and saw they're okay with all of this. So, okay, except for obviously the Windows 10 only .NET 9 update. But that's not required because it's supposed to work. Then we get RelicLauncher.exe. But internally it's labeled a DLL, and I was able to just relabel it DLL and get better effect. Let's move on. It's 200 megabytes. It's a single giant executable, but really it's just a DLL. And this is the main thing that's obviously what rustrelic is using. This would be a launcher to run it. That's what I'm saying. Normally you just take a generic copy, 900 megabytes or so, and you add something to it to launch it, and it gives you all the extra abilities. Let's move on. That one says that it's from 2024, Christmas time. And it apparently internally is labeled ToxigenMod. It's a remake of it, or a reuse of it. Some of the people who built ToxigenMod, which was out there for a while, did this. Toxigen went dead as far as Rust Legacy about 2018. And like all of these projects, instead of just releasing the information on how to download it and integrate it and let us modify it and give us the instructions on how it works and what hotkeys to use or whatever, everybody just goes blank, goes dark, and erases all the information. Well, that's not for your use. Because, again, a lot like the other one, they complain about not getting donations. And I want to point out that rustrelic.eu heavily wants you to spend money. Let's move on. This is a full client and launcher ToxigenMod and or just the launcher update that was available on Google Drive, Mediafire, and Mega NZ, and then they erased it, whoever they are. And coincidentally, this group putting this out, okay, cool. They're all gone now by 2019. Now let's get to a couple of problems here. The theme I'm bringing up here, it's actually the main purpose, is people putting out projects for free and then getting mad when they overtly put it out for free but ask for donations, don't get donations, and then in one or both cases, throw a hissy fit, throw everything away, and never tell anybody how to directly control the project so it can live on after them when they get tired of it. That includes erasing, on the case of Wilenty, his GitHub that had the extractor I used. If you're watching Wilenty, why? Please just put it back up. I don't even think this costs him any money to leave it up. I understand him wanting to have his portfolio with all these cool programs and refusing to release some of them, but for crying out loud, it was the only thing on the planet that would rip this open so I could do an evaluation. Next, on ToxigenMod, just put out a tutorial how we can add ToxigenMod to the default Steam version of Rust Legacy after we jailbreak it so we can play it without getting Steam involved. Just tell us how to mod the game. Let more of us have the ability to mod the game and make it work better. No, it won't increase cheating. It'll keep the game from dying. If you gave a damn about this, you'd do it. Rant over. Now I'm evaluating the game. It's just an ordinary copy of Rust Legacy with a launcher that lets you access their now very walled garden environments. That's it. Now, you don't have to run the launcher. If you rename it DLL and just run Rust, they've somehow made it to where as soon as you go on to at least RustRelic's servers, there's 2 of them currently, which show up in the little drop down for you to find out which servers are available. They're the only 2. It'll activate RustProtect.dll, and apparently it'll activate the relic code as well, because there's a difference between when I name it .dll or exe or just remove it from the directory entirely. And this is where it stops. All it does is play on normal servers. I just have to cut and paste the IP address. The server browser part of it only shows there too and excludes all the others, or it doesn't bother including them because it's not made for that, and I understand that. But it won't work. The damn thing didn't load on RustRelic. Now, one of the things you're going to immediately say is, you should just run the installer. But that doesn't seem to be the major issue. I've said before about a couple of these customized Rust legacy clients, that they require that you go onto their website and give an email address and get approved as a user so that you're in good standing on the server so you won't get automatically kick banned. You have to register, which might be a good idea. Or they require you to join Discord for the same reason, or both. They don't tell you what you have to do to make it work. They don't have any ability to mention, do you have to run Windows 10 or Windows 8 here? There's no data. And the last time I did a video, actually each time I've done a video criticizing this product for doing things that either look shifty or just make it hard to even evaluate it, I get threatened with legal action and get told that I'm violating their privacy for pointing to their website. So I'm not going to give a link to their website. It'll all be archived. Previous projects, toxigen-mod.hys.cz and rust-toxigen.forfan.cz. We'll have a link below. These will be archives. There's an archive.org link that goes to toxigen-rust.cz/launcher-update/ that gives information on them throwing their hands up and shit-canning the project. You just have to translate the language. What is my opinion of this? When I ran it on normal servers, again, I had to cut and paste the IP address. There's several different ones that have a browser that let you go to off-brand, so you're not going to the one you customized it for. It works. This works on those as well, but it doesn't let me pick them. It's a walled garden kind of thing, closed system. It wouldn't load, no matter what I did. It gave random different error messages for the same behavior. I rebooted it between tries. It would give me completely different arguments. It sounds like it wants me to sign up with an email address and a password and a username and be put on a whitelist on the server, but they don't explicitly tell you that. Same thing with we have to go on Discord. You have to join Discord to do it. Or you could just put up one fucking paragraph explaining this and reduce the font size. I have visual impairment, but we don't need fonts that have letters that are 2 inches tall on the screen. Reduce the hype and increase the information sourcing. Other than that, it's no different than any other version, so why don't you put out a generic Rust legacy server and see if people go there more? If you're trying to create a walled-off system so you have to whitelist people, so you can only get people in there that maybe you can prevent cheating, that's great. This, however, does not look like it's a real client-side anti-cheat that's working. It's not a specialized launcher that adds much or anything. And the only thing it did is every time I tried to go to only your servers, it refused to work. Last, just run the Trust Me Bro installer and see if it works. It might. It might not. They have been very obvious in the past to complain about me critiquing them. And more importantly, they said, well, we can provide a zip version so you won't have to extract it anymore. And they never did. It's been months. They're not going to. And again, the website wants to sell you stuff. I'm not saying it's a scam. I'm just saying they're doing everything possible to look shifty. Just put up an explanatory note, top dead center of your page. Get rid of the stupid Web 2.0 bullshit. Get rid of the hyper bullshit. Just make the website load cleanly, quickly, without jumping around, and let us read what's really going on and not have to join your Discord or sign up for an email list. Nobody's going to do that these days. And again, explicitly tell us, do we have to do a sign up to get on the server? If we do, say so. No, it doesn't say that. I will include an archive only of their page, all of their pages. And I've also archived the installer because I could. So you can look up the archive link through archive.org and download it as of yesterday, and they can't change it. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Good luck with that.